let's get started. You can kick off the
Good
recording.
evening.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for joining my session. I appreciate you. Can we all mute ourselves so we can get
I thought the call
okay, yeah, Olamide is here now. Olamide, yes, tell me. Yeah.
Excellent evening to every great dynamite in the house. I'm Olamide by name. I'm a leadership coach and I'm also business consultant at the same time. My expectation for this
Masterclass. There are different like breakout groups now.
My expectation for this session is quite simple. In this new normal world that we are, there are some things that are expected of us as leaders, which include how to hone my leadership effectiveness, how to inspire others, how to manage a team, how to guide change. So I want to know how to do all these things in this new normal world that we are, so that I'll be able to be an effective leader, a more effective leader than who I was before the COVID season. Those are my basic expectations. How to do all these things. I need to manage my team well. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Olamide. Okay, good. So today we are going to be looking at transformational leadership in a time flux, which is a time of crisis. Transformational leadership in a time of crisis. And, crisis, I've been listening to so many leaders during this period of time. Not every leader, but I have some leaders that I follow specifically and that I have been following and watching them. And it's been so inspiring. It's been so encouraging learning from these leaders. And the good thing about it is, one of the most important things I learned from them is that crisis is not new. In fact, one of the leaders I've listened to in this period is called Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek said something recently. He said that the new normal, the new normal, what we call a new normal, has been with us for quite some time now. Not downplaying the pandemic, but what he meant was that times have changed, and the changes we are seeing right now in the world, most of it has been with us a long time ago, but we did not realize it. So now it's just like validating it. Things that have been are just coming out more into the open than they used to be. And surprisingly, a lot of people, leaders, have been preparing for such a time as this. And that's why most of them have been able to make a shift. But one thing I have noticed, no matter how much you prepare, when crisis comes, it's always unexpected, because most you don't know when it's going to happen. But the thing is, it's going to happen. So when is it going to happen? No one knows. But it's already here with us. We're living through some unfamiliar experiences, and unfamiliar to us, unfamiliar to the world, and it's affecting the way we do life, the way we relate with others, and it's also affecting the way we lead. Yeah, so I'm going to be sharing my screen right now. Let me see if I can get it up. So we can see some slides. Yeah, just give me a moment. All right, so there we are. Okay, so there we are, transformational leadership in a time of flux. Yeah, so right now it's a time of crisis. How we lead in this crisis is very important. And today we are going to make a shift from a trained leader to a transformational leader. Oh, I see a typo there. Leader to a transformational leader. And It's a shift that every leader must make at some point in their lives. And we're going to see that in a few minutes. We all must come to a point where we need to make this shift. And there are two ways of making a shift. We can make a shift voluntarily, or we can make a shift, we can be forced into making that shift. Right now, most of us are being forced to make this shift. And most of when we are forced, we don't like to be forced to change. We all like change. Everyone likes change. But most of us, we want to change on our own terms. We want change to happen on our own terms. We don't want change to be imposed on us. And right now, that's what is happening. It's looking like change is being imposed on us. So there's so much stress because we are forced to stretch beyond what we are normally accustomed to. So stretch we must, and that's how we are going to do. We are going to stretch, we're going to grow, and we're going to become transformational leaders because the world is in dire need of transformational leaders. There are so many leaders out there, so many leaders in the world, but very few transformational leaders. That's why I'm so glad that you joined my class, because it's in you to become a transformational leader. And you probably are already a transformational leader. That's why you are in here. In 2016, I made this shift from a trained leader to a transformational leader. And it's not a shift that happens at once. It doesn't happen one time. It happens, it's a process that keeps on going inside of you, and it propels you to continue to make that shift every single day. Let's look at what transformational leadership is. First, I want us to look at this quote from someone that is very dear to me. He says that if your actions inspire people to dream more, to learn more, to do more, to become more, then you are a transformational leader. That is from John C. Maxwell. So right now, wherever you are, I want you to put your hand on your chest, your right hand on your chest with me, and say this with me: I am a transformational leader. One, two, three, go. I am a transformational leader. Thank you.
Leader.
Yes, we are transformational leaders. Yeah, thank you. So we can mute ourselves now. Now, what happens in a crisis? In a crisis, everything is amplified. Everything. We know everything rises and falls on leadership. The is amplified. The bad is amplified. Reading the news every day, you see, like right now, the corruption is being amplified in the society, you know. And just as corruption is being amplified in the society, there's a lot of creativity, people coming up with new ideas, and leaders doing amazing stuff all over the world. So everything is amplified in a time of crisis. And I believe the reason is we are more focused in times of crisis than we are in moments of non-crisis. And in times of crisis, the leader shows up. The leader shows up. What is really inside of the leader comes out. Okay. If you have good character, it shows in times of crisis. If your character is not okay, it shows in times of crisis. The best and the worst comes out in times of crisis. If you look at it vividly, like if you want to, you have an orange. When you squeeze an orange, what comes out is going to be orange juice. If you squeeze a lemon, what's going to come out is lemon juice. You squeeze an apple, you get apple juice. You cannot squeeze an apple and get orange juice. So whatever is inside of the leader comes out. It shows up in times of crisis. So in times of crisis, people are more resistant to change. People are more resistant to change. I know I am more resistant to change in times of crisis because I'm more, my goals have been shifted. My goals are there, but my plans have shifted. A lot of things have tumbled up inside. Plans are no longer the same. And in the beginning of this crisis, personally, I felt this resistance to tweak my plans because everything seemed to have been set up so intentionally. Everything was clearly written out. I don't know about it, but for me, my calendar was so well structured. I had everything planned, and then COVID hit. COVID hit. I was so sad, and it took me some time to really sit back and tweak my plans. It took me time to to revert to new ways of doing things. But change we must. We are resistant to change in times of crisis, but we must change. And in times of crisis, the stretch is more. The stretch is more because the stress is more. There's so much stress right now. Everyone is stressed right now. I mean, like everyone I know is stressed right now. Now, because we are stressed, we still need to grow. We need to stretch to grow. We need to put in more effort to grow, to improve ourselves. In our businesses, because of the stress in the society, we need to do more. We need to stretch more to be productive, more than we normally would have had to in times, before, prior to this pandemic. Okay, so every day brings its own uncertainties in times of crisis. Every day comes with its own uncertainties. You start the day, and sometimes things will not go the way you plan it to. Every day comes with different things, different news coming up, businesses tweaking, new technology. Yeah. So, but we must shift. But one thing that I know, in the midst of adversity, in the midst of crisis, lies opportunity. I was speaking with a friend, Amara, yesterday, and she told me something. She told me that when you look at the word adversity in the Chinese language, it is composed of two words. One means change and one means opportunity. So, in times of adversity, in the midst of it, in the middle of adversity lies opportunity. One of my mentors told us something. I remember very clearly during a seminar in 2015. He said something. He said, where there are challenges in a society where challenges are more, the opportunities are even more. He was talking with respect to Nigeria. He said that yes, we have a lot of challenges in Nigeria, but there are more opportunities here, because that's what it is. In times of, in areas where we have challenges, opportunities always abound. Okay, now let's see, what is transformational leadership? I told us I made this shift in 2016. In 2016, I was privileged to travel to the country of Paraguay with the John Maxwell Leadership Foundation and over 250 coaches, trainers. We went there to conduct transformational leadership roundtables based on values. And those roundtables, they are values-based trainings, values-based leadership trainings that we did on the nine streams of influence in the economy. So we went to every area of the country, to different parts of the country. We trained at the National Assembly, the presidency, we trained at the health sector, churches, the religious sector, the business sector. We trained at the non-profits. We went to orphanages and trained. We went to the slums of the country to train them on values, leadership values. And it was an amazing time. You know, most of us, one thing that we came back with, we went there to initiate country transformation. But personally, I was changed the most. I was changed the most. 2 days prior to that trip, I had an accident in my kitchen. A plate fell from the cupboard, from the top of from the cupboard, and hit my left toe, my left toe, the big toe on my left foot. So I don't, how do they call that? But yeah, my big toe. So that plate, you know, it was the edge of the plate. You know, the edge of it was a breakable plate. So the edge of the plate hit my toe from the top of the table. Right now, even as I'm talking to you, I can still picture that pain. It was an excruciating pain like I've never felt before. I felt shock waves move from my toe to my head. It was really shocking. So that was 2 days prior to my trip to Paraguay. And I took that, I said, no, I can't just cancel my trip because the plate has fallen on my toe. And the plate did not break. That's the funniest thing. The plate did not break. So if it had shattered on my toe, it would have been better, but it didn't break. So it really cut right, right deep. I mean, the pain was huge. So when I got to Lagos, my toe was so swollen, I had to go buy new footwear. I had to buy sandals and slippers to wear because I couldn't wear shoes anymore. And by the time I got to Amsterdam, that was a stopover in Amsterdam. The weather was so cold. My feet were freezing. And I saw everyone was looking at my feet. You know, it was crazy to see someone wearing sandals in that kind of weather, right? So people were just looking at my feet. What's wrong with this woman wearing sandals in this kind of weather? You know, but for some reason, I think because of the cold, I wasn't feeling the pain. I was just feeling the cold on my feet. So we got to Paraguay. It was about 30 hours. The trip was about 30 hours. And when we got to Paraguay, that too was, and you could clearly see that there was pus inside the toe. It was really bad. So throughout that week, 1 week in Paraguay, no shoes, pain, but I was there for something. That was when I made that shift. So transformational leadership really is about helping people and helping more people, helping people to become the best versions of themselves and helping more people to become the best versions of themselves. When we are transformed as leaders, we also initiate transformation in others. So it's just a ripple effect. Okay. Now, transformational leadership is a calling. It's a calling that rises up from inside of you. And when you feel that calling from inside of you, nothing can stop you. Like when I was going to Paraguay, nothing could stop me. Nobody could say, no, don't go to Paraguay, you know, because your toe needs attention. No, I was ready because something was burning inside of me. I wanted to see what transformational leadership really is and how I can become a transformational leader. So it is spiritual. It is spiritual, just like leadership is spiritual. Yeah, I am a person of faith. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. And I believe that we are all spirits. We are spirits. We are primarily spirits. Okay, we have a soul and we live in a body. So no matter which religious or faith affiliations you have, this is certain for every one of us. We are all spirits, and transformational leadership is spiritual. It goes beyond the mind. It goes beyond the mind. It's of the heart. Just like leadership. Leadership is not a mental thing. Leadership is a heart thing. Okay, so Transformational leadership is a process of becoming more and influencing people, others, to become more than they could ever imagine themselves to be. And even in this time of crisis, we see people everywhere. That's why we see transformational leaders are out there, even in this time of crisis, helping people, putting people first. They are out there helping others to become more, to have more, to do more. Why? Because it's a calling. It's in them already. Okay. So transformational leadership is something that is caught. It is caught more than it is taught. And that is one realization I made when I went to Paraguay that first time in 2016. I realized that transformational leadership, you cannot teach it. You can't teach it. We have to move from trained leaders to transformational leaders. Yes, you can be trained as a leader. You will become a trained leader. You even become an excellent leader with training. But transformational leadership is something that you have to catch. It's hot. Okay, so now let's move on. We're going to see the difference between trained leaders and transformational leaders. I believe most of us here are trained leaders, and some of us here are transformational leaders. And in this time of crisis, we are we are still being trained as leaders. That's why you're here, because you want to be trained, you want to grow as a leader, you want to become more as a leader, right? And you want to know more. You want to move from just being a trained leader to a transformational leader, even in this time of crisis. And I believe that by the time we are done with this presentation today, you are going to see a clear path on how you can move from a trained leader to a transformational leader. So a trained leader knows how to lead. They know how to lead. They've been trained. So they know what leadership is. They are probably in a position of leadership and they are leading people. They have followers, people that they are directing, people that they are influencing already. Now they are liked. They're not just leading, they don't just have followers, but their followers like them. They are truly liked. They are influencing, like right now, like today, even in the midst of this pandemic, this time of flux, they are still influencing others. So people are following them. Okay. And they are asking people to follow them, and people are still following them right now because they believe in them. People believe in them. People trust them. They love to lead. They are leading from their hearts. They love to lead. They are trained. They've been through leadership trainings, several of them, and they are still undergoing leadership training even as we speak. They are helping people. They have a career. They have a business. They impact a few. Yes, they impact a few. Now, what do transformational leaders have that is a bit slightly different from trained leaders? Slightly different, but I can tell you, it is that small difference that makes all the difference. So a transformational leader, they don't just know how to lead, they know why they lead. They know why they lead. They lead because they have a purpose, they have a calling. They are contagious. They're not just like, they are contagious. People are drawn to them. Sometimes you don't even know why. And transformational leaders, they influence today and they influence tomorrow. What does that mean? They leave a legacy. They are people, they are not just focused on leading today, they are focused on leaving a legacy. So that's why they are leading. They ask people to make a difference. They're not just asking people to follow them, they ask people to make a difference. They require commitment from their people, commitment to making a difference from the people that they lead. They love the people they lead genuinely. They have them at the top of their hearts. They are trained and they are also transformed. They've caught transformational leadership. They help people change. They have a calling. It's beyond them. They cannot not do what they are doing. No matter what happens, even in the midst of pain, in the midst of discomfort, they are willing to go out there and still do the work and still be with the people and still help a lot of people. And they impact many. They impact so many other people. And I know so many of us, we are impacting people. We are people of impact. We are people of purpose. We are people of strength. And when we are transformed, it runs in us, it runs in our spirits. It's like an anointing that comes on you, and you cannot just do what you are called to do. You just have to do it no matter the discomfort. Now, how is transformational leadership possible in this time of flux, in this time of crisis? How is it possible? How can we continue being the leader that we are called to be? Not just the trained leader, but the transformed leader. How can we do that? We're going to look at a few steps, but I want to ask us a question. From what so far, what is the main difference between a trained leader and a transformational leader? Something that you know that is you've caught so far. I just want one person, the first person, to unmute themselves and share with us. Yes, Rajuna.
Hello? Can I go on?
Yes, we can hear you. Go on.
Okay.
That, yeah, Chris.
Yeah. The difference is that a trained leader thinks of only himself, while a transformed leader thinks of all. At a transformed level, you think beyond yourself. You think about everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, at a transformation, at a transformed level, you think beyond yourself. You think beyond yourself. It's not about you. And it's genuinely not about you. Your heart shows. Your heart is open and people see your heart and they know that this person has our best interest at heart and he is ready to go all the way for us, no matter what happens. So thank you for that. Yeah, so let's look at how we can really make that shift from just being a trained leader to a transformational leader. Okay. How is that possible? The first is ask the question about motives. Ask the question about motives and methods. Get your heart in the right place. Get your heart in the right place. What is best for the organization? What is best for the people? It's not about you. Like Chris said, we've moved beyond ourselves. So why do you want to be a transformational leader? I love the why question because if you don't know why, you will never know how. So the people who know why are the people who become transformational leaders. You need to get your why in place. And when you know your why, you can know how it's going to stop you. Know how. Your how will always surface. So the question that you can ask yourself here is, what's best for the people? What's best for the people? The second question is, what is best for the organization? What is best for the organization? And the third question is, what is best for me? What is best for me? In that order. So people first, organization, and then you, in that order. So it's always about the people. Why do you want to be a transformational leader? What are your motives? And when you get your motives right, the methods are going to surface, and the method is always going to be about the people. So when we get our hearts in the right place, we get our motives right, and people understand our motives, then we truly can be transformational leaders. Like in this time of crisis, leaders must be authentic. We must be authentic. Our motives must be clean and clear. People must know why we are doing what we are doing, even if it's in their best interest. But it's very important that we share our motives with them. We share our why with them. Let them know so there will be no assumption. I heard John Maxwell say in one of his Monday series, Monday leading leadership series every Monday at 5 p.m. He said something. He said, assumption is the mother of all leadership mess ups. So we don't assume that the people understand our motives. Share it with them, let them know. In fact, you have to get it right first for yourself. Ask yourself the question, let your heart be right first, and then share it with the people. That way, there is no assumption, there is no confusion. Everybody is on the same page. So I saw this quote, until a person's spirit is changed, the person remains unchanged. So your heart must be changed. Your heart must be in the right place so that you can change. That is from Dr. Miles Monroe. The second thing we would do is your willingness to grow in times of crisis. Have that willingness to grow in times of crisis. You know, I mentioned earlier that in times of crisis, the stress is high. And because the stress is high, the stretch is also high. The stress is high, stretch is also high. So we must be willing to grow in times of crisis. That is the only way to be a transformational leader. And growth is not about, it doesn't just happen once. You don't just take one webinar, you don't attend one webinar, two webinars, the number of conferences. No, not just about attending conferences, but putting in some personal time to improve yourself, continuously improving yourself. You need to make personal growth your priority in times of crisis. Make it your priority, because in times of crisis, the natural tendency for us, for most people, is to sit back and wait through the crisis. Wait for the crisis to pass. Put your plans, you put your plans on hold. Yes, you've put your plans on hold because, of course, those plans, things have changed, things have shifted. So you cannot execute the plans the way you plan to execute it in the first place. So most people will want to just put those plans on hold and wait for this time to pass. No, grow through crisis. Activate your creativity. Spend some personal time growing. And when you grow, it becomes contagious. Your people will also want to grow. Your people will want to follow you. They want to grow. And when you make that growth a priority and your people are growing, maintain your curiosity and your insatiable appetite for growth, because growth is contagious. When others see you growing, they will also want to grow. They want to grow. Transformation doesn't just happen in you, it happens around you. And when you're growing, others are attracted to you. Don't just go through this crisis. Don't just go through this crisis. Just grow through this crisis. Grow through the crisis. From March, I've been leading courses, leadership courses since March, April, May, June. And I've had the privilege and honor to have some transformational leaders in those sessions. they've been growing from, and not just free training. Some of them are paid training, and they've been there with me. We've been going alongside since March, April, May, June. We're now in July. This is 5 months that we've been going through this period of growth together. Why? Because you don't stop growing, especially in times of crisis. If you stop growing in times of crisis, remember, everything amplifies in times of crisis. John Maxwell says everything rises and everything falls on leadership. And in times of crisis, that fall is faster. The fall is faster. So the danger of stopping your personal growth or pausing it, let me not say stop it, pause it, because some of us will say, okay, let me just pause. No, and just relax. Your slide is going to be really, really fast. So don't stop growing in times of crisis. Transformational leaders are growing. A life that is transformed is a life that is being changed. See that it is being changed. You are in the process of change. It's happening continuously. It's not happening and stopping. You're not pausing it. You're going. And in times of crisis, as leaders, as transformational leaders, we're not just growing ourselves, we are growing our people. We're growing our people. We're spending time and resources to make sure that we're not just the only ones growing, we're not just improving ourselves, we are growing our people as well. So if you're a leader of an organization right here with us here, make a commitment to spend at least once a week or twice a month to invest in your people, growing them. You can enroll them in some free trainings, enroll them in some paid trainings, even in this time of crisis. Yes, make sure your people are growing. That's the only way you can grow together in this time of crisis, because this crisis is going to pass. So if you are the only one growing, you're leaving your people behind, right? So my question is, what are you going to do to grow in times of crisis? What are you going to grow in times of crisis? Let's answer that question. I hope write this question down. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Secondly, what are you going to do to grow your people, to develop your people in times of crisis? I know there'll be time for question and answers. So let's write our questions and our answer and our questions down, so that when we get to the time of question and answers, we can ask our questions. Okay. So something happened to me when this pandemic started in March. I told myself that I'm not going to stop growing. I'm going to invest in myself. In fact, it was in March this year, I invested thousands of dollars in my personal growth and development. I didn't know how long this pandemic was going to last. You know, when it started, we knew that, oh, it's just something that is going to pass. Maybe it's just going to be like the Ebola virus that came, and then after a few months, it was gone. So I told myself, no, I'm not going to stop growing. I'm going to continue growing, even in this time of crisis. So I made that investment, develop myself, because it was a program that helped me to articulate, to really go deep within myself and find out what is really inside of myself. Because when the pandemic hit us in late February, March, I was one of those people who were destabilized. I was destabilized. I lost alignment. And I had to take that program with one of my mentors to regain alignment, to really find out, who am I really walking in my purpose? Have I really articulated my purpose properly? Why do I even want to lead? Why do I want to continue, coaching, training, and building people? So I had to take that program, and it was life transformational. So a life that is transformational is a life that is being changed. It's in the process of change. Okay, so number 3, Believe in your people. Believe in your people. Leadership is all about people. You can only lead people. You can't lead machines. You can't lead robots. I know we are in the age of artificial intelligence, yes, but you can only lead people. So it's all about people. It was all about people before the pandemic. It's all about people right now in this time during this crisis. And it's always going to be all about people. So find your people first and then you can lead them. Then believe in them. Totally believe in the potential that lies within your people because even now your people have potential. Leverage your team and put your people over profits. Put your people over profits. Let me tell you a story during this pandemic. So I had to slash because not because I couldn't charge for my normal. In fact, I couldn't in the first place because of the pandemic. I told myself, oh, things have hit so hard, and I'm not sure people are not really, I'm not sure people will be able to pay for my services to the level that you know my full fees at this time. And when we started, I didn't want to even charge for any program. I think March, April, yeah, it was all free programs because I couldn't just, my heart was not, oh, yes, I know that these are programs that people should pay for, but I need to continue growing and I need people to understand that growth is continuous, especially the right people, transformational leaders. They need to know that growth is continuous and they need to believe that people have potential in them. So I started those programs and my mentor told me, no, Kate, you're cheating them. You're cheating these people because value is not something that when people don't pay for what they are supposed to pay for, you are robbing them of their seed. You're stealing from them. So stop stealing from them. Even if you don't charge your full fees, but let them pay something so that they can have some, they can sow. Because it's only when you sow into yourself that you can reap. So the law of sowing and reaping, it has to keep going. Even in times of crisis, it has to continue. So I decided to start charging. And I believe that the people who can pay, who believe in themselves and in their potential, in that and that of their people, they will also, they will find the value and they will pay for it. And that's when I started, making monies during this pandemic. People were paying, people are paying. So, but still, it's people over profits. And of course, I've had to give a lot of scholarships in some of my programs. At least one or two people are there on scholarship. Why? Because I believe, I see their hearts and I know that they are investing. It's a scholarship, yes, but it's an investment still. So transformational leaders, they are belief makers who help people to believe in themselves. They are belief makers. Your people have potential. There's a story, sometimes you look at your people and some of them are not doing well, especially those who are leaders. We have teams, we have team members, we have organizations. Some of them are not doing well, but let's go to your people and show them that you still believe in them, that they still have potential. They have potential and they can make it. We are all in this together. Now, don't just communicate judiciously. When you go to your people, communicate with them, motivate them, show them that you care. Show them that you care. And be authentic. Connect with them regularly. Connect with your people regularly, every week, every day. Make sure that you touch with your people as leaders. The assumption most often is that they should come to us. But as a transformational leader, you don't wait for your people to come to you. You go to your people because it's all about the people. You've made that shift already. It's all about them. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth that yes, you're also things are stressful for you, but you are also stretching. So let them know where you stand. Let them know. Don't just have an open door policy. I heard this just recently from a minute with Maxwell. John said, don't just have an open door policy, have an open ear and an open heart policy as well. An open ear and an open heart policy. An open heart policy is very important in this time of crisis. Let your people be comfortable, feel comfortable to come to you with their issues, whatever they are facing this time of crisis. And then number 5, focus on your own transformation before leading others to it. Okay, focus on your own transformation. Transformation begins with you. It begins with you. You see, leadership, it has become a role people play rather than a life people lead. But leadership is not a role you play, it's a life you lead. And that life is a life of continuous equipping yourself, equipping others, being an example of transformation, showing your heart and your purpose every time. So because transformation is about application, it's not education. It's leadership, applying leadership every single day. Okay, asking your people for commitment, but first you must be committed. As a business owner, as an organizational leader, if you are not showing commitment at this time, how will your people show commitment? How are they going to show commitment? So in times of crisis, just like in times of war, the leader is always in front. In times of crisis, the leader is always in front. So in times of crisis, you have to go beside the marketer, you have to go beside your IT, you have to be beside your IT, you have to be beside your accountants. You play all the roles in times of crisis. You stand with them, you stand beside them. So you need to be equipped. Equip yourself first and stand beside your people as they also, are being equipped. It has to start with you. I am transforming. It's a matter of I am transforming and others around me are also transforming. That's what it is in times of crisis. I am transforming and others around me are also transforming. I remember the process, a cub, my female dog had two pups early in March. And I saw from the moment from the moment she birthed them, they came out of their mom to the time when these pups they're now running around the place. It's something that is wonderful to see how a life is birthed and then that life is transformed gradually, growing in stages. So as a transformational leader, you are equipping yourself in stages. And I saw how the mother took care of these children, these pups, showed them how to, how to walk. She kept pushing them, and then you see how she pushed them to breastfeed, showed them how to feed, showed them a lot of things, protected them during that period. It was wonderful. So in terms of transformation, know that it's a process. And it's a process that it begins with you, but it doesn't end with you. It doesn't end with you. Transformation begins with you. It doesn't end with you. It must extend to others. It must extend to others. And it must be visible in you. I read an article recently, and the article stated that in 2018, $366 billion was spent by companies on leadership development. And Out of the $366 billion globally, $166 billion was spent in the US alone. So when we talked about training leaders, we have a lot of trained leaders. Companies are spending billions training leaders. But that is, transformation is not happening. Why is transformation not happening? In spite of all the training that we are getting, why is transformation not happening? That is the big question. And the reason why it's not happening is because we are not embracing good values. Because that is where transformation happens. Transformation, in the beginning, I said it is spiritual. And I said it's something that happens in the heart. And I said it's something that is caught more than it is taught. So you can spend money, a lot of millions, training your leaders, training your people, training yourself. But if you don't embrace good leadership values, transformation will never happen. That is why the John Maxwell Leadership Foundation goes to countries around the globe, teaching transformational leadership values to these people. And transformation will never be possible without good values. If we agree on values, there is no diversity. And when we agree on values and put resources in the hands of our people for sustainable leadership transformation, then we are sure to have a better society. Last month, in June, I took another certification to become a roundtable values facilitator. Why? Because values, we need values in our society. We need good values. People need to be trained on leadership values. Imagine if people start living the values of integrity, not just speaking it, but living it is part of them. People start listening better. You listen more. You connect more with your people. The value of forgiveness. We imbibe the value of forgiveness in our society. Imagine where we will be as a society. So we need these values. We need people to live for sustainable leadership, transformational leadership. Good values must be imbibed in us, first of all, as leaders, in our organizations, and then in our people. Then finally, give God room. Transformation is not possible, but we need God for transformation. Because transformation is of the heart, it is spiritual. We need it. We need the creator. We need the author of transformation. And we know God is that put nation in our hearts, that desire to make a difference in our nation. He puts it in our hearts. And we see that it is in the spirit of every man to be a transformational leader. It is in you to be a transformational leader. So finally, we become a transformational leader. Become a transformational leader. How? Transformational leaders, they are committed to reproducing other leaders. They are committed to reproducing other leaders. Transformational leaders are committed to making a difference. They are committed to it's not about them. They are committed to making a difference in the lives of others, in their nations, in their organizations. It is hard in this time of crisis, but their commitment is also high. Because that's why they are there, to make a difference. Transformational leaders, they possess a high level of self-awareness and others' awareness. It's beyond them. They're not looking at themselves anymore. So in your organization, where you belong, in your home, it's not about you. You've made the shift from you to others, from your success to others' success. And transformational leaders are mission-minded. So let it be your mission to be a transformational leader. Transformational leaders embrace values-based leadership. transformational leaders allow God to put nations in their bellies. Transformational leaders, they are committed to a transformational movement. They are committed to a transformational movement. I'll be ready for your questions in a few minutes. So, finally, transformational leadership is the commitment to be the difference and a difference in the world. A commitment to be the difference and make a difference and make a difference in the world. That is transformational leadership. Thank you so much. So, questions? I'd love to have your questions. So, let me check the chat room. I'm going to stop. So, in 2018, I went to Paraguay. Let me stop so you can see me. I went to Paraguay. Sorry, in 2016, in 2018, I went to Costa Rica, the city of Costa Rica, for another transformational leadership mission. So because transformational leadership is a mission, we are mission minded. So we went to train on value-based leadership in that country, and we didn't stop there. In that 2018, we started also training on values in Nigeria. Because the reason is not, we're not going to other countries to train on leadership values just because we want those countries to be better. Yes, we want them to be better. We want them to be transformed. We are transformation minded. It's a mission. We are committed to going all over the world, for leadership transformation. And because transformation begins with me, it begins with us. We are also committed to bringing it back home here in Nigeria. So currently, we are in the process of running leadership values with some people because we are committed to bring these values into Nigeria. We're not just talking values, but we need to live values, because when we imbibe these good values, these transformational values, we see we have benefits. Our countries change. Corruption, where we see corruption in the world, in our nation, every day we read about corruption. See what's going on with EFCC. It's sad. It's sad to hear that, to read that those who are placed in that kind of position, who are supposed to be an example, to others, we're not seeing that. But imagine if we are all living good values and we hold our leaders accountable for living good values. How will our nation be? How is it going to be? How will our organizations be? So I'm looking at the chat. No, I'm not seeing any question yet. If you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. I'm ready to take it.
All right, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening.
Okay, this is Abraham. Just before I ask my question.
Yeah, Abraham.
Thank you. I think the other time I was speaking, but you weren't hearing me the time you asked us to introduce ourselves. But then just before I ask my question, please, can you just run the screens there? Can you share your screen just once more? Just
I'm
run through
struggling
them.
to hear Abraham. I don't know if someone is hearing Abraham. Maybe you can repeat.
Yeah, ma'am, I'm saying just before I ask my questions, is there a way you could just share your screen with us once more? Just run through them again.
Okay, to share my screen once more. What do you
Yes,
want
please.
to see? Let me see where, because did you join us from the beginning? Let me explain it.
Yes, the first screen. I really didn't get that.
What's that?
I had issues. The first screen on the transformational leadership. I didn't get that.
Okay,
I had network issues, and then I continued.
Okay, so do you have how to become, ask the question, the first one was how to ask the question about your motives. Why do you want to be a transformational leader? That's the first question to ask. And then,
Okay.
What is best for, let your motives be clear. Let your motives be very
Okay.
clear, and then communicate your motives to your people. In this time of crisis, it is very important that we communicate. Don't just over communicate, but communicate judiciously and wisely. Make sure you are in touch with your people. You're connecting with them regularly as a transformational leader.
Okay.
Yeah, and let them know that you still have their best interest at heart. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You said something that in the time of crisis, everything amplifies. And if one should go down the slope, it happens faster. And then you also said that we should grow in the time of crisis. We should keep growing. We shouldn't stop growing. I just wanted to ask how one could, first of all, from your own example, I understand that it's first difficult to maintain balance in the time of crisis. Then talk about
Yes.
adding blocks to blocks to grow in the time of crisis. I want you to know if there are one or two other things we could know about, first of all, maintaining your place. This is not about relaxing. Let me maintain my ground first. Then let me just conquer this storm and stand and see how I could now start adding blocks on blocks in building up myself and growing through the time of leadership. So I wanted to ask if there are one or two more things one could know about maintaining his place enough to himself.
Okay. Maintaining your is it maintaining balance? Maintaining your balance? Is that what you said? Let me see the chat. Sending your questions. I'm sorry, I didn't get it. I didn't get it in full. But let me see from what I understand.
Let me
Um,
ask it again
okay, thank you.
from the example you gave.
Yeah.
Hello, ma. Hello,
Yes.
ma.
Yes.
Please, because of
Yes.
network issues and time is not on our side, I would suggest let them send in the question as text they can read and ask so that we can save some time.
Okay.
We are really running behind time.
All right. Okay. Yes. Thank you. So Abraham, type in your question. Type in your question, please, if you can.
Okay,
So
I think if I could just in the next 10 seconds ask it again.
okay.
First of all, you talked about having a problem during the time of crisis to the extent that you say you were hit to the extent that you have to take a leadership or a session of training with your mentor. So it
Mm-hmm.
is that crisis period that I want to ask about, because for some of us, or let's say from my own personal experience, it was like everything I could hold on to just drifted with the flood. And I'm trying to ask beyond connecting with one's mentor or any other source of power, what other things could one do to, first of all, not lose what he has so that he could be able to be? Because you can't be talking about growing if you can't maintain what you already have.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, maintaining what you already have, you need to know what you're maintaining, right? You need to know, what are you maintaining? Is it still valid at this time? Can I still maintain what I already have at this time? in times of crisis as a leader, we need to find a way to move from maintaining to creating. So it's not just about you maintaining the status quo, maintaining what you already have. You need to find a way to shift your mindset. First of all, it has to begin from your mind. Shift from maintaining, because you don't know if that is still relevant in this time of crisis. So what I advise people, yes, it's good to go for learnings, it's good to attend webinars, it's good to go for trainings and all that. It's good to have information. But don't just assimilate information, don't accumulate information. Don't sit on the information you already know. Move from information to transformation. And transformation it's taking action. It happens when we take action on that which we already know. So there's some things you already know, Abraham, that you can act on. You can do something about it. You can be creative with what you already know and start building something, even in this time of crisis, with that which you already know. And as you're learning new things, you are also, don't just be learning, take action on whatever you are learning. Ask questions, ask yourself questions, and answer those questions. Make sure, there's a challenge I gave the people, those of us, not just us, we've given ourselves this challenge in my leadership group, mastermind group, that before this crisis, before this crisis ends, in fact, our challenge is before the program ends, which is it's ending in about 2 weeks time. Before the program ends, our challenge is that we must have created something. We must be releasing something into the world. So give yourself a challenge that something must come, something positive must come out of you as a transformational leader that is going to make the world a better place, because we are here to make a difference in the world. So be committed to making a difference in the world. And that starts with what you already know, and maybe something additional that you can add to yourself, but make sure you're taking action already.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much, ma'am. That was a wonderful session. I'm sorry they are calling from the studio. We have to hook back to the studio. The time
Thank
is
you.
all. There's one more question, but we cannot take it now. They've been giving me signal for a long time now. I have to hook back. All right. Thank you very much, ma. We really appreciate you. It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. And one of the final things
All
we are
right.
taking away is not to sit on the information we already have. Let us start creating something. As we are acquiring more, we are creating. Thank you. That was a wonderful closing remark.
Well,
Yes, ma'am.
if they can ask their questions in the group and put questions into the Joshua Leadership Facebook group, I'll be able to answer it. Is that
Exactly,
possible?
Yes, yes, ma'am. So please, class, if you can
Yeah.
ask your question, we will answer every question. Just write it down. Send it as email
Yes.
to Joshua, either to our Facebook page or Joshua Leadership gmail@gmail.com. We'll answer you. She will answer and I will reply to everyone. Then I would want you to drop your emails so I can send you the recording of this class. This is not a class we'll take just once. We need to listen
Yes.
to this again and again and again to be able to absorb what she has said. Thank you once again, ma. We are glad to have you here. Any
All
final
right. Thank you,
word?
everyone.
Thank you so
30
Yes.
much, Ma. We are
seconds.
grateful. Thank you so much, Ma. I've really learned a
Thank you
lot.
for coming to my session. And
Thank
remember,
you.
Thank you
transformation
so
is a
much, Ma.
process. It's a process. It doesn't happen at once. You have to be in it, and it has to be for the long haul. Then it's about the people. It's not about you. It's never about you. It's never going to be about you. You're committed to the people. So continue your process of transformation and keep growing.
All right, class, what do we say to our teacher? God bless you, ma. God bless you.
God
God
bless
bless
you, ma.
you.
Thank
God
you.
bless you. We are glad
God
to have
bless you,
you.
Ma. We are grateful. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right, all
Thank
right,
you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
all right. All right, class, please let's hook up back to our Facebook page or YouTube channel, anywhere you are watching from, Instagram. The evening session has started. God bless you.
Gosh. This one.